And I've been sort of talking to you guys about Apple. I think Apple, of course, is directly tied to China, and if China goes down, then I think Apple goes down. But also, too, with the rising cost of money in this whole conversation, I think the frivolous spending by the public has come to an end. And so there's lots of talk also, too. TradingView now has on sort of like news alert kind of thing. And if you look at the Apple chart, they're saying things like Apple iPhone 14 Pro likely still in short supply as TrendForce cuts estimates. So it might not even be that the 14 is really a shitty product. Maybe there's lots and lots of demand still. But of course, what's going on in China, it's just an absolute train wreck there. So, and you have to say at some point, folks, Amazon went through it. I think Amazon hit like $1 trillion market cap, and people are like, wow, that's crazy. So now the market cap's 832 billion, so it's come off substantially from its old highs. Is it? And then of course, everybody's favorite jerk. His stock now is basically fallen from like what almost $400 down to $112. I mean, I'm surprised there aren't lawsuits flying for that kind of losses. 350 billion now. So I guess he was over $1 trillion at some point. And then the one, I think that this shoe still has to fall. He actually hasn't come off as much. You can see he's sitting at $2 trillion market cap. So, this big fat M, maybe that's what knocks. Maybe this thing has to come back down to 50, 60 bucks a share, which I suppose would take it back down to $1 trillion. Wow. That's crazy. Fundamental valuations. I mean, 41 times book. Have you guys ever heard me talk about price to book value ratios as a concern? If I'm going to buy a stock, would I buy a stock that's trading at 41 times book? I think you all know the answer to that. So, and is it realistic to think, especially in this world where the Fed's tightening and people are reining spending in and China's fucking imploding, and of course Europe is a disaster. Is it realistic to expect this continuous growth rate? I mean, can this thing actually double again, go to $4 trillion? I don't know. That sounds like a little bit far-fetched. I think all of this has to do with when does this money cycle turn? And I don't think the money cycle turns until probably, like August. And I wouldn't even be surprised if you have some sort of crazy ass rally peak in crude oil prices. And of course, the oil stocks have a pretty good year. I think we did a bunch of Feigenbaums, and we also drew some trend lines and stuff. And actually looking for a test of that high into the spring. It's not really unrealistic. But that might be the sort of final hurrah. The Fed's only going to lower rates and be friendlier monetary policy if and when they see the energy market is calming down. I did find it interesting that somebody had pointed out that natural gas prices now, I think Sjord had made reference to this, that natural gas prices are now actually lower than they were before Vladdy started all this nonsense. So, you can't blame Vladdy for all this. Suppose they will, though. ABCD, and I think natural gas prices, believe it or not, I think they could still fall in half here in North America once all the dust has settled. Now, maybe what happens is, this natural gas doesn't rally the same way as crude and unleaded through that, early January, February window into the spring, but you might find something along those lines. And this turns into some big ass head and shoulders. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. And we'll find out whether this could either turn into a head and shoulders, which, break back above here down the road a year or two from now. I mean, it's not going to happen today or tomorrow. I don't think that's the scenario that happens. Believe it or not, I actually think this is like a megaphone. Maybe that's actually the third tag of the megaphone low. I don't know. But we'll find out. And actually, this will be an interesting tell for the economy. Anybody who's still on the site, come the spring, how does the natural gas market act through that spring's period? And if we can't hold this, what's that low? 475 low, then we're probably, the bull is over and it's done. And that might be, once we get into the other side of the spring there and these things start rolling over and heading down, then again, the Fed can start looking at things and saying, you know what, we can come off the gas. The irony of it all is it'll be the market that actually decides this, the orange line, the euro dollar market, way before the Fed.